Welcome back. Now, we've been making the rounds talking with congressional candidates ahead of this November midterm. And earlier this week, congressional candidate Diane Harkey, who's running in District 49, stopped by. That's currently territory held by Republican Congressman Darrell Issa. Now, we talked about the race between her and Democratic challenger Mike Levin, which is shaping up to be one of the tightest in the county. I'm joined now by Diane Harkey, running for Congress in District 49. Diane, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I want to talk about this race a little bit. Your team recently conducted an internal poll, 400 likely voters over telephone. You got 46% over Mike Levin's 43%. There's nearly a 5% margin of error, which tells me that this race, even telling you guys that this race is shaping up to be very, very tight. I mean, what do you see as the deciding factor or factors going forward to November?
Well, there's a couple things. One, who served the district. I've served this district for 10 years. I know the people. I didn't just move in to run for the seat. I've lived in my same neighborhood for 30-some years. So I'm local, very, very local. And also, the tax issues, the, Medicare for all of those issues work in my favor. They are not issues where I think Mr. Levin is going to be able to break.
When I last saw you, it was June 5th. It was the date of the jungle primary, and I remember we had a conversation, and you were expecting going into November that this race was going to get a little bumpy. There was going to be money pouring in. I think the word that you used was you expected to get hammered from the other side. So far, no, correct me if I'm wrong, but so far it's been pretty quiet. But there's a lot of time between now and November. Do you still kind of see that as the case?
Oh, after September, the gloves come off. No, that's when the campaigns really begin. Right now, everybody's just kind of gearing up. We're opening campaign offices. We've got a grand opening in Orange County in San Juan Capistrano. We're going to have another one in Carlsbad. We've got an office existing and operating right now in Vista. So, it's called the ground game and raising money to fund the campaign. And the national parties are going to play big in this.
Gas tax repeal. It's something that a lot of people are talking about. There's a ballot measure already in place for November that would kill this new tax and roll back some vehicle fees. Is that enough?
Oh, I think we ought to go further, but there's only so much you can do in one campaign, and I think this is a very good start. I'd also like to see a more rational approach to the cap and trade fees, where they get allocated. There's all sorts of things that are going to increase the price of our vehicles. Electrical vehicles are fine, but we need other sources. Electricity is rising in the state tremendously. So you're going to come home with your electric vehicle, plug it in, and then you're going to be extra assessed for your electricity. Even though you've got solar panels and you're right now maybe getting a bit of a discount, that will not continue. So we've got policies that are hurting people in the state of California that I think there can be a lot done about, and we definitely don't want them repeated across the nation.
Well, and so, the economy is always going to resonate with folks. Something else that people are talking about in that district are jobs. How do you bring more jobs to the 49th?
Oh, well, jobs of the 49th are quite easy, honestly. We've got, the NIH funding needs to be maintained in the budget so that we can get the research and development funds that we need for the biotech, biomed, and life science industry, which is huge in this district and in San Diego and actually statewide. There's programs that come through the community college that prepare people for these industries and also for manufacturing in these industries. So those are middle wage jobs. And then you've of course got the military contractors. That's huge. We've got a really, really solid base here on military contracts and the other industries.
Okay. The last thing that I want to touch on this week is a big week on the immigration front here in San Diego County. Obviously, that court deadline is Thursday, the 26th. Court documents show right now there have been more than 460 parents deported without their child. There have been questions raised about documentation. Were parents properly notified of their options? Do you feel like the government's done its job here?
This is a very tough situation. That's why we need a full immigration reform package. But you're going to need cooperation from both sides of the aisle. You've got the open borders crowd that doesn't want to cooperate, and then you've got the send everybody back group that doesn't want to cooperate. We have to find some kind of mesh in the middle. And I think that the House actually had a good bill that dealt with a lot of these issues. And you know, because of what we've got right now is basically a zoning code, if you will, for you know, if you've got a zoning code in your city, you know what can be built. But then somebody gets a variance, somebody else gets another variance. Pretty soon you don't have a zoning code. You know, you've got retail with housing projects and other things, and it gets really messy. You have to go back to square one. We have to have a solid statute on immigration that deals with DACA, that deals with the children, that deals with you know, the visa programs, all of these things, and border security, improving security. You know, all of these things can be dealt with, and they need to be dealt with so that we go back to a statute and a law instead of having our courts decide what's legal and what's not.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Diane Harkey, running for Congress in District 49. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the topics.
Yeah, our thanks for Diane for stopping by. Now, coming up on Politically Speaking, despite voters passing a ballot measure in 2016 to approve commercial marijuana sales in California,